Okay, so moving on, the next thing that we're going to look at is the annotation section of this series of videos. And all the annotation tools are located on the Insert tab. So if we click on Insert, we'll be looking today just at 5 in particular. So that's going to be the text note editor, attachment, hyperlink, citation, and capture. So to start off with, we're going to use the hyperlink tool to hyperlink to a website that I've found that will contribute to the research of my particular essay. So I'm going to click on a branch. In this particular case, it's going to be DJs, and I am going to then locate the particular website that I want to link this branch to. So if I click now onto my web browser, and I go up to the particular website that I've found that I want to link to, and it's about the most influential DJs of all time. You can see there's lots of information, etc., about lots of different DJs. So I'm just going to copy that URL or that web address, so I can just literally double click in the URL pane and then right click and then click on copy, and then go back into my mind map, making sure that the DJ's branch is highlighted, and then go up to hyperlink, click on that, and then this will then pop up. So I then right click and paste over the HTTP colon slash section that is by the URL name, and I click on paste, and then I can name this whatever that I want. So if you don't name it, then it will just come up with the name of the web page, which sometimes is fine. But I always think it's best to just name all your links. So if I click OK now, what we'll then get is a paperclip on that particular branch. And if I hover on that paperclip, we can then see that particular hyperlink. And if I click on that, then that will take me back to the web page. The next bit of annotation that I'm going to do is a branch attachment, or to attach a document to a branch in the mind map. So with this one, it's going to be a PDF that I've located again on the internet and I've downloaded. It's a journal about heavy metal music, so it's going to go on my rock branch. So if I click on branch and then click on attachment, what we then get is obviously our file locator or our file manager. So I've just saved this on my desktop. So if I scroll down, there it is there, heavy metal counterculture. Click open, and then that will then attach onto that particular branch in a similar way to the hyperlink. So we get a little paperclip. I hover on that paperclip, double click, and then that will take me to that particular PDF. So in a second, so the PDF reader in Edge, and there we go. There is that particular PDF with a few notes on that I've made previously, or like a few highlights. Okay, so the next tool that we're going to look at will be the capture tool, which is here on the insert toolbar on the right hand side. So the capture tool is for web referencing and research. It can capture images and text, and it can then insert information from those images and text into your source list for later export into your referencing and your bibliography. So what we'll do, we'll start off with the house music branch. I've got that highlighted now, and make sure that I've got a web page that I want to actually capture some information from. So from this particular web page, I've got an image that I want to use of Larry Levan, and so all that we do, make sure that that page is the one that you want to use, and then go back into the mind map, click on the branch, and then click on capture. And that will take you back to the web page, and then I click on image in this box down here. As you can see, it says capture image or text to branch house. So we know that whatever that we capture will be attached onto that particular branch. So if I click on image now, everything's grayed out and we get a crosshairs, and it's just a case of dragging across the image to make sure that you've obviously captured it all, and then when you're happy, you just let go. And then what happens is the capture will then pull up all the information that it can from that particular web page. So we've got the title of the web page and we've got the URL. Sometimes it will pull out keywords from the page as well, but that's fine just for a basic information to add to our source list. Down the bottom here, we've got set as branch picture or set as branch attachment. So if you set it as a branch picture, it will sit on top of the branch. If it does an attachment, as with the hyperlink and the attachment tools, it will sit under the paperclip. So I'm going to set it as a branch picture. So if we click on save now, we will then get, if we go back into the mind map, the image is now attached onto that particular branch. So it makes for more of a visual reference of that particular source as part of your mind map. So moving on, we'll now do another capture, but this time a capture for or of some text from a different website. So I'm going to click on clubs this time, and again, if I go back to the web page that I've located that I want to actually capture the information from or capture the text from, it's this little section here about the Begane nightclub in Berlin, or the Panorama Bar. So what I'll do now, make sure that I'm at that part of the page that I want to capture the text from. Go back to the mind map again, making sure that that branch is highlighted. Click on capture, and then this box will pop up. So again, image or text, and it will take me back to the web page that I was last on. So this time I click on text, and it then changes to say capture text. So if I highlight the text now, making sure that I've got all the text that I want to use in my research or in my particular reference or quote. When I'm happy, I then click on capture text, and the same box will then pop up, but this time, as you see, it's not an image, it's the text, and that image, that text will then be attached onto the branch that I've highlighted, and the information underneath here of the web page and the URL will then be sent into my source list. So if I click on save, and this time go back into the mind map. So if I now go to clubs, I then get under the paperclip the text that I just captured. If I click on that, it will then open up the text reader to show that text. And then underneath, we've got the citation for that particular text for that particular web page. So with that in mind, we'll now go to the source list to actually see those two sources that I've just captured. So we go citation. As we are in the text note editor, citation will pop up in an edit tab. You can also access it in the source tab, in the insert tab as well. So if we click in edit and we go drop down, manage sources. So it's the third option down. We can then see these are the two sources that I've just captured, and we can click on each of these and more information will come up on the right hand side. So because it's just a capture tool, it will literally just get the bare essential information of that particular source, but we can go into the particular source item and edit it and add information. So if we've got one of the sources highlighted and we click on edit up here, we can then go in and add information, as much information as we want. So I'm just going to say go blogs, and I'm going to say 2012 and standard number 2. And you can go through and add as much information as you need for the particular referencing format that you are using, which obviously at Sheffield Hallam is APA. So if I click on OK, you can then see now that this has now changed to say who the author is and what year, and the information has been updated here as well. So if we click OK, the next thing that we'll do will be to look at another use for the text note editor. As you've seen here, for the clubs branch, it's inserted a capture of text with a citation, but it can also be used just to add notes. So if you're literally feeling you've got some ideas and you want to just add them into your mind map, you can just type away in this particular text note editor, and then that will be included in your export into a Word document at the end. So with that in mind, you can literally write your entire essay actually in mind view if you wanted to. So just to show you how simple that this is, so with pop highlighted, I then click into the text note editor. As you can see up on the toolbar, the edit tab now changes to look a lot more like a Word document. So you can change the font size, obviously bold, italic, underline, etc. So everything up there would be what you would expect to find in a Word document. And I can literally start to type. So any ideas that have come into my head about this particular aspect of my essay or my project, and you can just type as much as you want. So obviously I'm not going to type too much, but I can just say pop is dead, and you can add multiple text notes to a branch. So if I now click into space, you'll see now that I've got, again, under the paperclip, one text note that says pop is dead. If I click on that, we'll then bring that back up. If I go into the text note editor and just underneath it, there is a tab here that looks like a tiny bit of paper with a sunlight on it. If I click on that, it will then create a new text note, and I can then say, no, it's not, it's the best. And then I click back into space, and then what I've got under my paperclip is then two of my text note, or my two text notes, which I can then click on to bring them back up. Okay, so that is the text note editor. And then finally, we're going to do a citation for a physical source. So if you're sat in the library and you've got a text in front of you, a journal, a newspaper that you actually have found a quote from, or a reference that you want to use in your essay, you can actually add that source into your source list and the actual quote into your mind map. So I've got a textbook that's named "Wish You Were Here," and it's all about 90s indie culture or indie music culture. So what I would do would be to obviously type up the quote that I want to use, but I've just got that quote now on my clipboard. So I'm going to go into the text note editor, and I'm just going to click on paste. But obviously, if I was actually sat in the library, I would be typing that out from the book. But the next thing to do is to add that actual book to my source list, so it can then be included in my referencing and my bibliography. So what I would do would be, again, to go up to the citation drop down, again, click on manage sources, and add new this time, because it's not been included automatically, obviously, because it's not been captured. So I click on add new, and then I would then search for that particular text. So I'm just going to type in indie music, and that's come up with 2,034 hits. But as I knew previously, Wish You Were Here is fourth on that particular list. So when I've found my text, or my book, or my journal, anything that I've got sat in front of me while sat in the library, I can then locate it using the search option up here. You can obviously go for a more like detailed search with including the author's names, the year, type of like publication, etc. But just for kind of ease of like demonstration here, I've just typed in purely what the genre is of music. So it's the fourth one down, so it's Wish You Were Here. So I just click on select. Again, that will then take you to the manual entry mode to just check that everything is included that would be needed for your particular referencing format. So I click OK, and that is now added into my source list. So I click OK. Then the last thing to do is then just to click into the text note editor and then insert that citation. So if I again make sure that I'm in the text note editor, and again go up to the citation drop down, and then I've got an option that says insert citation. So I click on insert citation, choose the particular source that I've just created. So Simon and Kelly, Wish You Were Here. And then I'm going to say that my quote was on page 21, insert it, and then as you can see, that citation is then added into the text note editor as well. So if I click back into space, exactly the same thing as with my text from a capture, or from when I've actually just created a normal text note, we go to the paperclip and I click on pop music is a genre, which is the start of that particular quote, and then that will bring that back up in the text note editor.